Under Enzo Maresca, there is a player in this team that will completely get lost in the system if he decides to play the same system as he did at Leicester, right? A player that everyone was saying was amongst our best players this season to just be cast aside. And it's a crazy one. You will not expect it. Now, Enzo Maresca, if you know anything about him, comes from the Pep school of philosophy. He is a very possession-driven manager, positional play, all that good stuff. Does it 100% fit at Chelsea? I'm not too sure. There are a lot of players that like to play on the counter, are very direct players. But I can definitely see how we can make the switch to being a possession-driven side. You know, we started to see it a little bit with Pochettino. Maresca, we'll see what he can do, right? With that being said, be prepared to see this shape at Chelsea a lot. We saw it a little bit under Pochettino, but it was a little bit jumbled up, you get what I mean? This would be Gallagher, he would be slightly inward, Enzo would be here. I don't even want to talk about that because I already made that rant in a previous video. Go watch that if you haven't. But no, we will see the box midfield 3-4-3 type thing that everyone seems to want to do nowadays. Now, Maresca does this either from a 4-2-3-1 or at Leicester, he has mostly preferred a 4-3-3. So I'm going to be just doing like a plug and play, seeing what Leicester's tactics would look like if you just plug them into this Chelsea team. Of course, this isn't going to be perfect. In real life, there are going to be tweaks made. Maresca has, from the research I've seen, is a very progressive manager. He knows his squad well and he formats his team in a way that always gets into that 3-box-3 formation, but starts out in different ways. At Parma, I've seen it in a different way. Man City, I've seen the 4-2-3-1. Leicester, 4-3-3. So this is literally just a plug and play. This is not going to be perfect. Starting with the back four, Petrovic is our main goalkeeper, so he's going to be in there. Now, both of his fullbacks, he likes them to invert in different ways. His right back, he wants to invert in midfield, and his left back, he likes to invert into defense, and I think this works for us. At left back, both Colwell and Cucurella can do this. Maybe Cucurella to a lesser extent. Colwell can definitely do this. We've seen Cucurella prefers to invert in midfield, but he has been able to play in a back three, as we saw with Brighton. Now, the right back is where the controversy starts, because I definitely think that Reece James can do that inversion into midfield. Do I think that Malo Gusto can do that? And that's where I think that a change will have to be made. You know, Malo Gusto, one of our best players last season, I'm not sure how good he is at doing this inverted movement. He is an overlapping fullback at heart. There is one way we can change this, or change Gusto's, that he'll be able to perform his role. But for now, I think James will be damn near the only right back we've got that can do this. However, that's not to say that he won't have any sort of rotation, because Caicedo can also make this role. We've seen it at Brighton, him playing at right back and inverting into midfield. So Caicedo can definitely do that if needs be. Now, the two centre-backs, just basic centre-backs. We're looking at buying some new centre-backs, which I'm happy with. For now, Chalobah looks like he's on his way out, but I'm going to be putting him in anyway. And of course, Disasi will be there. So now this defensive mid, who will act as the double pivot next to the right back, right? That looks like it will be Enzo. Enzo Maresca has said that he has specific plans for Enzo Fernandez. I'm 100% excited to see what he does with Fernandez. In terms of what he does with Leicester, though, this has been Harry Winks. And Harry Winks has played as that, I don't want to say metronome, but that sort of deep-lying playmaker linking defense to attack, and that suits Enzo to a T. I say it suits Enzo to a lesser extent. I want Enzo to be more like progressive in the way he plays, as more of a regista. I covered that in a past video, obviously. But if I'm doing like a simple plug and play, Enzo will be there. Now, another aspect of Enzo Maresca's tactics, which is really interesting, is the way that he moves his eights. His eights are very attacking. They come up so far, literally as part of the front five. You've seen this in the likes of how Man City play, how Arsenal play. These eights will be coming up far, which is why I think Palmer will start as one of these centre mids that will go up high type thing. Almost like Odegaard. He will be playing that Odegaard position. Now on the left is a little bit more interesting, because this can be two players depending on how he wants to set his team up. Depending on who we play against, depending on, you know, how we want to play on that day, this can either be Conor Gallagher or Christopher Nkunku. Similar to Arsenal, how they've got either Rice playing in that position or Havertz. Me personally, I would prefer Gallagher there and have Nkunku up front, but because it looks like we're going to be buying another striker, then I don't know how that works. Actually, I'll get into it, because actually, I'm putting Gallagher there, full stop. Nkunku is going up top. Now, the last two bits are the wingers. Very wide. They have to be just wide specialists. Pause. On the right, we've got one in the form of Noni Madueke, one of the best in our team, probably the best in our team in terms of one-on-ones, attacking one-on-ones. I think Gusto can definitely also play this role as sort of a contrast to Madueke. Whilst Madueke will want to cut in on his left, Gusto can go on his right and put a cross in. So I think that dynamic works out really well. Now the left is where things get interesting because I want to see Sterling sold, and at the same time, I don't think Sterling can do this. Can Mykhailo Mudryk do this? I don't know. Me personally, I want to see him as more of an inside forward, but he is really fast and he is probably going to be there. I think Jackson can also do this because we have seen he is one of the other players in this team who's great at 1v1s. I think Mykhailo Mudryk and Jackson as our left wingers definitely works. Having Madueke Gusto as our right definitely works. I just feel like this team works for what Enzo Maresca would want to do with us. Now, of course, as I said earlier, this is not perfect. This is going to go through some changes. Maresca will not play this exact thing. This is just a concept based on how Leicester played. In possession, by the way, it looks like this. You can make your own decisions by whether or not this would work for a Chelsea team. Me personally, there is definitely potential. There is definitely potential. We would definitely need to strengthen up at the back. We need 2 centre-backs and maybe a goalkeeper. And we do have a lot of midfield options that are willing to come in. The likes of Chukwuemeka can definitely play in this left inside role. Cassidy can probably play there. The likes of Lavia and Ugochukwu can definitely come in at the base of midfield. Striker, of course, will be really interesting because Nkunku as a lone striker I'm not too much of a fan of. We might need someone with more aerial presence maybe, but I'm not too mad with it at the same time. But as I said, this is just a concept. We're definitely going to need some more improvements. We're definitely going to see what Maresca himself wants to do. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know whether you take Maresca. Let me know if you're happy with this as a starting 11.